This is the fourth laser movie, and I'm going to be adding the audio and the video to this movie. And I've already made you a student laser folder. Inside of it I have audio folder. I told you to put things in folders, and a video folder. And I have more files over here than I'm using. I wanted you to hear some of them in here. Here is an Explode AIF file. I also will show you something in a second. Now listen to this. It's just an explosion, so when the particles, if you look over here to the right, when the particles actually come into your After Effects file right here, you have an explode that happens right there, and then obviously your explode right at the end when this thing gets really bright right there, you can have another explosion right there. Now, my alternative is either I use an audio file or I use this video file. Watch this explosion, which I'm going to enlarge to 175%. Same thing, except it has a little bit of a cool video aspect to it. I have laser music, which I'll double click here. You can choose that one. I also have what I'm going to use as a background laser for when the laser's writing. Listen to this. I also have three themes in here. A planet travel theme, which I don't know I'm going to use or not. I'm going to have to see. And my techno background theme. Now I like that one because it kind of has a little new upbeat sound to it. Okay, and here's a techno theme, another one. So I'll have to make a decision on which one I use, but I have two explosions. I didn't show you the other one. Two video explosions. Here's a thunder for when the lightning is in here. So I can actually loop that thunder when the lightning actually goes across the screen. And here is the here is the other explosion that I had. One is as good as the other. In fact, let me see which one I like actually. The other one is actually bigger. I'm going to put both the explosions in here, so I'm going to drag this explosion over to my video, and I'm going to wait for a second. Now I have explosion number 2. I may use explosion number 2, which is fine. I'm going to move this over now, and let's get right to it. The one thing that I wanted you to see was that I obviously started with a 30-second comp. And I've already, if you look here, I'm scrolling down to about the 15-second mark, and I finished the laser. I actually hit the E key a few seconds ago, just so you can see, and I opened up the lightning, and I thinned these down, meaning I grabbed this one and I moved it. See how I can make it happen shorter? I'm going to Command Z back because I like where I put it, but I have it ending at the 14-second mark because I'm going to make my final 15 seconds. I should hold you to the 15-second mark, but you can go anywhere between 15 and 30 seconds, and I'm okay with that. The final laser redo is going to have to be 30 seconds exactly, but this one is okay if you want to add a little bit extra. Just don't go over 30 seconds. Between 15 and 30, I'll make mine 15. But I shortened the lightning so it was over, plus so the little dot didn't stay. Let me move this down so you can see the lightning layer. Let me hit the T key for opacity, and you can see how I put an opacity that I'm highlighting here and here. I put an opacity there because I wanted the actual lightning to fade out right at the end. Then I'm going to fade the whole thing out. Now, obviously I don't want to have to add audio to all of this stuff here. So as before, I'm going to hit Command N, and I'm going to make a final comp. And a little while ago I realized as I was going over this, I incorrectly renamed, I now renamed the comp that I had named template. I meant to make the solid the name template for when we brought over the stuff from Illustrator, but I incorrectly made this, you probably noticed, I made the comp name template, but I just hit the return key and I retyped laser comp and then hit the return key to accept. No big deal. Now I'm going to hit the home key, which I already have done, and I'm going to bring the laser comp down into it. Now I'm going to shorten this to 15 seconds. Okay, so that I have to make my decision at 15 seconds and have everything over. So I'm going to go back up to composition and composition settings, and I'm going to force myself to do everything within 1500 seconds. So now I'm going to actually fade out. Watch my my name Brian, I'm going to hit a T key on the entire laser comp. I'm going to set a stopwatch keyframe right there at 14 or so, and then at the end key I'm going to fade it out to 0 so that the name Brian actually nicely fades out, and then the whole thing is over. Now let's go to the beginning. I'm going to slide it to the beginning and put it, I'm going to put a marker on this one exactly where the first flash happens. Now remember, if I want that flash to be bigger, which I really don't, I could just go back into the laser comp, go into the lens flare, and I could hit the E key for the lens flare, open up the lens flare, and find that keyframe right there and make it bigger. In other words, right now it's at 120. If I double click this, I could make it 140 and just have it be slightly brighter. I guess I said I wasn't going to do it, but I did. I'm now going to go back to the final, and of course it's at 140, which is fine. I guess that's okay. But that is the point on that composition where it happens. So I'm going to leave my timeline there, hit Option asterisk, and I'm going to put an S for start, because that's where whoops, I hit the return key. I should have hit the enter key. And now I have an S for start exactly where that happens. Now I'm going to, where the start happens. Now I'm going to turn off the visibility, and I'm going to bring down the Explosion #2 movie, which is a 320 by 240 movie. See how tiny it is? Now I want to align that little dot. First I want to see how big it is and how big the explosion gets here. Now I can afford to make that slightly bigger, so I'm going to hit the S key, and I'm going to scale this up to 150%. Now, I want to find out, I want to position it exactly over the other one where it begins. So in this case, I'm going to turn the eyeball back on laser comp and have them both together. Nice thing happened. You just saw how I can't see through the explosion comp or the explosion layer to see what's underneath my laser comp. So I have to go to the mode of the explosion movie and put it on add, not overlay, but add, and now I can see them both. Now, here's problem number 2. I'm going to pick it up and place it right over where it's supposed to go. But as I make this larger, I'm going to turn off the laser comp now because I have it in the right place. I can see probably an end to the glow on this. Actually, this one's perfect. The other one had a flashing glow, but I'm going to protect myself from you seeing any edge where I'm pointing or I'm making my arrow go. So watch how I'm going to make this thing be the biggest it can be right there. I'm going to go up and get a mask tool, and I'm going to just make a square, leaving about 10 or 15 or 20 pixels, maybe even more than that, around that so I can feather the edge of that. Now, leaving it like this and going into the mask down here, let me make this smaller, leaving it like this and going into the mask down here, do I want to do that? Yeah, I can get that all on screen. I'm going to feather this about 50 pixels. Now 50 pixels, you didn't almost notice anything happening, but what's happening is if there was an edge to this that you saw when I turned on the laser comp, okay, you would not see an edge any longer. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if there was color on the edge, I have faded out the color to the edge of the comp, and you can see how big the box was, the layer was originally. Now that's the mask, that's not the layer, okay? The layer is actually the white line that is showing up. I'd have to bring another one down here to show you. So I've enlarged it. And now I'm going to listen to where the explosion is. So I'm going to put this at the I key for the beginning of this, and I'm going to hit the period button. Now, right here is approximately where this actually happens. The explosion happens. So I'm going to hit the L key for audio, and I'm going to open up the waveform, and you can see it's pretty obvious where it starts, isn't it? Let me hit the plus sign, and you can see exactly where it starts. Now I'm going to place a marker on the audio level. Remember, it's Option asterisk, and I'm going to place a start on that and hit the enter key. And now all I have to do is close the waveform, and I can line up my S's. Now watch this, how cool this is. I can line up my S's, and now let's do a very quick RAM. If I hit -, Command S to save the file, and let me just ram this to an N key of about 3.5 seconds and hit the RAM so we can see this actually ram. Now let's see if I'm right on where I want to. Something's a little amiss here. In fact, I want to ram a little bit longer, and I want to gently move one way or another way so that I can figure out what's going on. I'm going to make this bigger on screen so we can see it. Let me enlarge this to 100%. Now let's see it. One more time. I can hardly get a feel of that. It's happening. Let me move it down just a little bit, and I'll Command Z that back, but now this is moved down just a little bit more. Actually, I like that better. As it comes in, it's going to hit. The flash happens, then the explosion happens. Oh, I like that a lot. So let's go down in size. Let's lift this up and save the file. And now I have a good audio that lines up with this. And I like the explosion loudness of it. It was left at an audio level of 0. Let's put the music in here. And let's have an overplay of music. Now the one that I was thinking about using was the techno theme. Okay. Now let me bring the techno theme down. And let's listen. I'm going to take the L key on the techno theme and I'm going to make it go to -15. I don't want it huge. I don't want it loud. I just want this to be background music. If it's too loud, I won't hear the laser scan. So again, let me play the, there's a portion that I've pre-listened to. In fact, I want you to hear it. Listen to how it begins. It builds, it builds, it builds, and boom. So I want that boom to line up with the actual, I double clicked it in the project window when it opened up here, and I hit the period button to preview. Again, I double clicked it here, it opened up in the comp window, I hit the period button, and I got to preview it, but I'm going to turn it off. Now I want to actually hit the L key again, open up the waveform, and I want to see where that happens. Now, can you see where that happens, where I'm hitting? I've almost got it at exactly the right time, but I'm going to set a marker on that one, Option * capital S, Enter key, and now if I move these closer together, I think I have it exactly where I want it. So let's ram it. I'm going to close the waveform here. Let's ram it to see how loud it is and how much it takes away from the explosion, or if it's good. One more time. Oops, I hit the period button. Let's hit the O button on the numerical keyboard. In fact, I'm going to turn off the explosion movie so I can listen to just the music as it starts. Whoops, what happened here? Oh, I didn't turn off the speaker. I don't mind if the flash happens, but I need to turn off the speaker. I turned off the video, not the audio. Okay, here it is. All right, I'm a little bit too early, so what I have to do, I'm a little bit too late, so I have to back it up, and -15 is way too much. Let's go to -5. Now let's hit this. One more time, I'm hitting the 0 button. Builds. Nice. All right, now, I might actually, as it's playing through there so I hear the laser well, I'm going to create a keyframe at -5 right at about 3 seconds, but I'm going to move it down a little bit farther, and I'm going to go to about -8 or -10. So it actually diminishes as the laser sound gets more intense. Okay, so I'm going to go up here, I'm going to double click laser scan so you can hear the laser scan. Alright, now that one's going to have to be beefed up to about 4 or 5 or 6 on the audio. But I'm going to close it off, and I'm going to bring the laser scan down below the techno theme, and I'm going to see where it actually plays. So I'm going to turn off the audio for everything except the laser scan. So I clicked off the little speaker things over there, and I'm going to do a test on this. Let me make this go a little bit farther, and let's hit the 0 button. Now remember, the audio on that, it's on the laser scan, is still at 0. Alright, let's move it down a little bit. Let's bring up the audio, L key. Let's make it go to 5. Now I may time stretch it a little bit. So let's go to Layer, Time, and time stretch the audio to 120%. Now, let's listen to it now and see if it begins when we want it to. Alright, I probably should have it begin exactly at the beginning. It doesn't sound too much like common sense. I'm lacking, but whatever. Okay, that was really good. Now the laser is writing, and I think 120% is just too much. It's sounding a little bit too low in tone. So let's go back to time and time stretch. Let's take it back down to 100%, and now let's hit the 0 button. All right, that's good. I like that. That's good. It's good. It's good. It's almost done. Okay, wait, I have to ram it all the way through. I want to see how far it's lasting. Let's do it again. Whoops. Keep on hitting the period button. All right, it's ramming. I want it to actually stop writing right now, right there. So let's see how well it lasts. Okay, here it comes. You can hear it. You can hear it. It's writing really nice, writing good, and okay, right there is where I want to actually diminish the laser scan. So here, it's done writing right here. So right there, I have to set a keyframe. So hit the stopwatch on the laser scan, and now move it down to where it's done, and go up here to audio. Do you see me up here in audio? I'm going to move this down to -48, which is actually mine set at -60. But you can go to -48. Now, I have actually taken the audio down. I'm going to hit Option right bracket to just give me a visual interpretation of where that's ending. So far, I'm going to turn on the techno theme, and I'm going to turn on the audio for the explosion, and I'm going to ram all three of those sounds together and see what happens. Now I have to add the explosion to the end of the file as well, so I'm going to duplicate this. In fact, why don't I kill two birds with one stone here? I know that's not a nice thing to say, but I'm going to go to the laser comp, I'm going to click it, I'm going to hit Option asterisk, and I'm going to put end on that and hit hit the enter key, and now I'm going to click this file, and I'm going to hit Command D to duplicate, and I'm going to move one of them down to line up exactly at the end. So I had an S lining up here, and I'm going to take this and double click it. Whoops. I'm going to take this and I'm going to, oh, I just found out something. Oh, that's so cool. I want to rename that, and it used to be that I could just double click that and the marker window would come up. Now, let me see if it does. Yes, it does. I just didn't click on it. I want to put an E on that one and hit the enter key, and so the E's line up exactly where they are. Now, let's ram the whole thing, and I'll make it slightly bigger on the screen, and then all I need is the lightning and I should be done. So let me make it slightly bigger on screen. Let's fit up to 100%. Actually, let's go to 100%, and then I'll make it slightly bigger. Okay, and you know I could hit the tilde key, which is above the tab key, just to go like this so I don't have anything else in the way. Let's hit the 0 button now, and let's see if this thing works. Okay, you know, boys like explosions, so I guess I have my explosions, and everything is just fine. So now let's go down one size, let's move this up, and really all I need to do now is add the techno theme goes all the way to the end, so I want to see how it sounds at the end, so I moved it down to about 12 seconds. Let's listen. Alright, now obviously I need to fade out this at about 14 seconds, so let's go over to here and line it up when the video goes out. Let's click to the techno theme. Let me click the add keyframe here, and the so I can add the same -10 here, and then I'm going to move it right to the end by hand, and I'm going to move this down to -60 so the audio fades out along with the video fading out. Command S to save the file. Last thing is the thunder. Now I don't know if thunder that I have is going to work, but all you gotta do is try. So let's go when the thunder actually starts, or the lightning. I have the thunder sound, I'm calling it lightning, but let me double click it and see how it sounds. I probably should have more of an electrical sound, and I don't like the beginning. It's just too loud, so I'm going to just use it, but I'm going to actually probably loop it. So if I right hand click here and go to interpret footage and main, I'm going to loop it twice. Now as I turn off this right here. I know when my up here, if you look, this is when the lightning is actually starting. So I'm going to go right here when the lightning is starting, right when the explosion happens. I'm going to click right there just so I don't lose it. Option asterisk capital L enter key, and now I have a I guess I didn't do it. Let's go Option asterisk Command L enter key, and now I have a lightning marker set, so I know pretty much where to bring in the lightning or the thunder sound. So let me bring the thunder sound right down to it, and let's see how that sounds. So I'm going to hit the L key here, and I'm going to lower this to about -4 or 5. Now I don't know how it's going to sound. What I should do is be due diligent enough to turn off the explosions, although they happen. I'm going to turn off the second explosion. I'm going to turn off the audio for the techno theme, and now I'm going to move the RAM down to the end, and I kind of want to get a good feel of it, and I'm going to move the beginning of the RAM right where it starts, Command S to save the file, and now let's RAM this section. Now that's enough RAM for me to see if it's going to work. Okay, that's good, but I don't like the beginning. The beginning is way the heck too harsh. So what I'm going to do is hit the L key here, and I'm going to go to the beginning of the Thunder AIF layer, and I'm going to open up the waveform so I can see where the waveform is actually giving me a really big explosion at first of sound, you know. So I'm going to set a keyframe here at the beginning right there. Let me go to making sure I click the -4. Now watch what I do. I'm going to go back to the left, and I'm going to move it down to about all the way down. So so I gently raise myself up to, if I can say it that way, to -4. Now let's just hit the period button to hear what it sounds like. That's better. They don't have a huge explosion at first. Now it happens again because I looped it. So I kind of want you to see what I'm going to do here. Right over here where I'm circling, you can see in the waveform where it's huge. I'm going to subdue that. I'm going to click a keyframe right there. I'm going to go right in the middle of that stuff, right to the other side, and click an add drop keyframe right here. So look, I have a -4 and a -4. Now if I go right in the middle of where the waveform is rather large, and I move the audio middle marker down here, you can see how I'm maybe just a little bit, I'll have it just be a little bit up there. Alright, what I've done is I've really reduced the harshness of the lightning right here. Now I already know, again, that the lightning is going to end approximately right here, so now I need to actually click the add drop right there. So I'm going right there, and now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to subtract it down to -60, so I actually stop the lightning or the thunder from being heard. Now you can see my marker is over about 14.2 seconds, and I'm going to hit Option right bracket, and now I can visually see what my audio is doing. So I started out by getting rid of that loud slam at first by moving it down. I'm highlighting the keyframe that I set at -60, -48 for you. You can adjust these by going over to the audio thing here and going to options, and you can adjust your audio to allow yourself to go to -60 on the audio. Okay, sometimes -48 doesn't cut everything out. That's why I went to -60. Anyways, I went from -60 to -4. I kept -4. Look at how this one right there was about a -40, -30. Then I went back to a -4, -4, and then I muted it all the way. Now let us hear what it sounds like and see what it sounds like. See what it looks like. I'm going to turn on all the explosions. I'm going to turn on the techno theme. I'm going to, laser scan is already on, and everything should be on. Command S to save the file. And now let's hear and see what the effect is. It's the only truly way to understand if it's going to work or not. And here it comes. That works. Tell you the truth, the explosion is just a little bit too harsh on both the beginnings and the endings. So I'm going to hit the L key for the beginning audio and explosion. I'm going to go to -5. Now I'm going to click the L key for the ending explosion. It doesn't have to overpower everything. I think you agree with that. And I'm going to put in a -5, but I'm not going to set a stopwatch keyframe because I'm just sending it all the way through. Now let's do a RAM of the whole thing, and then you will be able to see my final movie. And let's do a RAM of the whole thing as it's supposed to look. So Command S to save the file. Put your cursor over this and hit the tilde key like this. And now let's hit the 0 button and let's see if it works. It's fine. There you go. There's the end of my movie. I'll hit the tilde key back, and now I'll squish it back a little bit like this. Move this up, and you can see that I've added several audio layers. I'll compress all the audio layers like this. I'll shift click all of them. I'll collapse them, and now let's collapse the bottom one. And I've given you all of this audio stuff. You can do audio as you wish. You can use whatever music you wish. I just wanted you to see in the first laser version, there's going to be two. One, you're going to stretch it to 30 seconds. It's the version number 2, and you're going to make it really fun. Okay, you're going to via the student examples on the server. But this one should give you enough of a idea on how to link up, sync up audio with video, and how to utilize the audio waveforms, how to utilize the audio keyframes, and to make this whole thing work. Because with video, no matter how impressive it is, if it doesn't match up and if it doesn't have audio, the whole thing is just like boring and dead. So I'm going to hit Command S to save the file, and go ahead and render this one out. Again, just so you can see the rendering part, if I was happy with this and it's set here, I'm going to go to Composition, Make Movie. Don't forget that you have to save it where you want to, the final movie. I'll actually start it and then I'll quit it before it's over. But I'll hit Best Settings, Best Full Length of Comp is what you want. Let's click OK. Let's click Lossless. And in Lossless you want to go to Format Options. Don't touch QuickTime Movie up here, but go to Format Options. Let's choose Sorensen 3 right here. Let's limit the data rate to 1000K. That'll make a fine movie at a lower memory. Okay, fine movie. Let's click OK. Let's make sure we go to Audio. Let's click Format Options. Let's go to Compressor as IMA 4:1. I'm going to put it on mono. Stereo doesn't, sometimes on some machines stereo only comes out of one side. Okay, even you can try it, but I'm going to leave mine as mono. It'll sound better in a QuickTime file, especially when it plays back on a computer. So let's go to OK, and I could have actually, I'm going to go back into that. I could have made it, this is a small one, so I'm going to leave it at 44, but I could have made it at 22050. When I have large movies, your tutorial movies are at 22050. So let's click OK. Let's make sure video is selected, audio is selected. Let's click OK, and let's click Render. I don't even know where I'm rendering this to. Let me make sure I'm rendering this to the desktop for now, and I'll move it into the right folder. And I'm actually going to go and rename it as Tutorial Example. And as I click the render button, remember if you click caps lock, it'll render faster right now, but then you can't use the computer. If I click render, I can go do other things, but I'm going to make this window really teeny weeny up here just so it doesn't take so much RAM. I'm going to click it, and I've enjoyed our time together here on the laser movie, and you can see how fast it's going. It won't take long, and go ahead and enjoy it, and enjoy this laser tutorial, and please follow the handout. And remember, the handout is not a perfect standalone item, although you probably could use it. It needs the movies. Okay? Thank you very much.